Oh, there we go. Well, happy Halloween, everybody, and it is Shabbat Tov, and, well, so Shabbat Tov, when the sun sets, where I am, it doesn't set till like 5 o'clock something, and, well, first of all, part of the reason I'm making this YouTube video is because I want to apologize to those who have sent me messages and comments and stuff. For lack of a better term, I'm just going to say it this way. I am very piss poor at responding to messages, and just because I'm focused on so many other things, and including trying to find a job and just all those things. Of course, I have the dream that, you know, hopefully the YouTube commentary will hopefully lead to something. And by the way, forgive too that my glasses are such a mess. I look like I have blue eyes, and Mom always says, well, your glasses are so dirty that you look like you have gray eyes. And as I've said before, part of the reason I look like I have blue eyes is because, well, it was in our family anyway. So also, I mean, I've just been busy with a lot of other stuff, and I do see that my blogging has had some effect. And for example, someone endorsed me on LinkedIn today for that, and then I can see that people are searching. They want to know things. For example, let's see, so someone in Montreal, Quebec, trying to find out whether let's see, so they directly arrived on my blog. Boston, Massachusetts has. So someone from, trying to find it, Ontario, is searching about a Nosim, and so I'm making some impact, or at least I hope I am. And you know, I'm just going to go to the blogger statistics too to see what people are searching. And of course, you know, I do pay attention to these things. It's not like I don't pay attention to these things. Believe me, I try to, trying to see where I'm making an impact, where I'm not making an impact. And it's just amazing too, because I have been able, at the same time that a lot of people have helped me, I've been able to help them, and to, well, for lack of a better term, just help them and hopefully make some difference. And, oh yeah, I said I was going to check the blogger stats, so what are people searching? Okay, well, today it didn't give specific, well, for the now it didn't give specifics, but for today, people are searching, yeah, of course, oh, Greg Gutfeld divorce. So yeah, that rumor is unfortunately continuing. Of course, if Greg Gutfeld was divorced, everyone would have heard about it. The far-left blogs will be slobbering and drooling all over it. And speaking of just far-left stuff, yeah, unfortunately some of that's out there, but, you know, just thinking about some of the stuff. And now that I, you know, like I said, I've been paying attention to things, and, for example, the cartoon in Haaretz, unfortunately, as I say, nothing is sacred in comedy, and unfortunately this guy who wrote the cartoon, at least he learned his lesson. And I guess in Israel, terrorism is such a part of daily living. It's like, oh, what's the weather? And I mean, that's another part where Mom says too, you know, why would you want to live over there with all the terrorism and stuff? And I'm like, well, I'm Jewish, I'm going to make Aliyah, etc., etc. I mean, I have a choice. I can either make Aliyah or I can die in the diaspora. It's that simple. And given that Jesus, or Yeshua, was born in Israel, lived in Israel, died in Israel, rose in Israel, and ascended into heaven in Israel, and given that even the St. Thomas Christians, who reputedly saw St. Thomas in India, given that they're Jewish, I would think that being within Israel is kind of important. And even Paul said that he wanted to save his countrymen or lead them to salvation, and I would think that, especially for the believer, that applies. And there are so many Jews who don't want to make Aliyah, or they're like, well, that was then, this is now, so why are we even going this all, and I'm like, look, if you guys aren't going to take the opportunity, I want to take it. And there's just so much that I could hopefully do in this hall that I couldn't do here, and what else do I say? And so, I mean, just a lot. And I'm also watching the worker controversy. Apparently some worker guy drew a very inappropriate cartoon, and now that I think about it, well, either way it was kind of inappropriate, because yeah, he apparently did use the Nazi imagery. What the allegation is, and I'm going to click on that. What the allegation is that, oy vey. Okay, yeah, the guy, I didn't see that one part. So yeah, the guy was definitely implying that, like the allegation was that showing voter ID equals Nazism. Well, let me tell you something. As part of a group that would be quite familiar with voting issues and voting fraud, because back then, unfortunately, people who were non-WASP were always subjected to someone trying to block their vote. I can tell you that this cartoon is indeed very insulting, and for those of us who don't want to be dragged around again and insulted, and who would like to say, look, we have, you know, legitimate votes, we don't want the other side to block us and just come in and do whatever they want. We want to say, look, we were born here, or we earned our right to be here, so, you know, we have no problem showing ID. So yeah, I mean, I've been watching these things. It's not like I'm just doing whatever, and, you know, I want to make a difference. I think that's, as I said before, for lack of a better term, this is why I even do part of this stuff, because I do want to make a difference. I do want to know what's going on. I'm not just sitting there like some people going, oh, well, it's all going to hell. I know that in the end, I know that I'm going to stand before God, and He's going to ask me, did you understand the times and know what to do? And when it was all going to hell anyway, at least in some respects, what did you do to help save people from that hell? And so I can't just sit there. Unfortunately, there are people with that attitude of, oh, we're going to all end up in the New Jerusalem anyway. And unfortunately that includes my mom. And I'm like, well, yeah, we're going to all end up there anyway. But for those of us who are believers, but I'm like, you know what, if I can make a difference now, and if I can do what I'm supposed to do anyway, then why not do it? And I want to be able to, you know, help save some people in the process. And not only that, but I was told recently by my sister that I actually had made a difference that I didn't know about. This one guy who is a friend on Facebook, I had told him that he was a Cohen before, by the way, he didn't know that. And what he told my sister, and I didn't remember this at all, but what he had told my sister that he never shared in his testimony, I didn't even remember that I was a part of this. He had shared in his testimony how he came to a crew with a couple of friends or whatever the deal is. He's Jewish, and he went up to the guy and said, like, okay, well, what's in it for me, or something along those lines. And then he got to thinking, and that's when he became a believing Jew. Well, like I said, I didn't even remember this. When the guy told my sister that I had been a part of his salvation, I honestly had no idea. I didn't even remember that. And what he told my sister is that he unfortunately parroted the line, well, we don't believe in Jesus, referring to the fact that Jews don't apparently believe in Jesus. Why the chutzpah to pipe up, excuse me, some of us do. And when he heard that, he basically resisted what I was saying, but it did get him to think. And so that's part of why I have some of the chutzpah that I do sometimes, because I do want to help people, even like in terms of the black so-called Hebrews. I am just as much on the British so-called Israelis as I am on the black so-called Hebrews, because that's where the black so-called Hebrews borrowed their ideology from anyway. And not only that, but some African dude or some African American dude actually fell for the British so-called Israeli theology. And I'm like, what? I mean, yes, there are Jews in Denmark, Britain, where have you, but the idea that, you know, oh, certain, you know, just because you're British or Swedish or Danish or whatever, you're automatically Jewish. I mean, holy vey. And, you know, also just thinking about how that kind of ideology affected total leading to the pogroms. And I think about great-granddad, and then what I found out recently is that great-granddad's grandmother, who was a Danilovich, she is part of the, she was actually crypto-Jewish herself. And what happened was, she was baptized when she was 5 years old, and I'm actually going to put in the description of this video basically what happened, but she's part of the branch that became crypto-Jewish, got married, and of course apparently became what's called a balat teshuva, and then of course that's why she got mad at her son and her daughter-in-law, perhaps a cousin even, for converting. By the way, she did, great-grandma did list her mother-in-law as a relative, and of course they weren't talking, so they had to be related somehow. And not only that, but then all the sides of great-granddad's family stuck together, even in Northumberland County. So yeah, there was definitely more than just, oh, you know, we're all married in and this stuff. And so I mean, it's just amazing. And I, you know, like I said, so other people are searching for crypto-Jewish history as well, and so, you know, definitely I'm saying, hey, this is my story, I can make a difference, I can help people out, and that's what I want to do. By the way, on an incidental note, I did find out that, and this took me admittedly a while to come out with this, but I'm sure maybe it'll help other family members as well. I had talked about how apparently John Allen, the one who adopted Edgar Allan Poe, was some great-granduncle or something. Turns out that he actually wasn't. Turns out that he was the illegitimate dad of my fourth great-grandfather, who was named for his grandfather. And so I mean, I definitely want to help people too, so if you do find any of a connection to John Allen, please say something and be like, oh, you know what? The truth about things is finally coming out, and we need to, you know, we need to talk about it. And I think that's what I want too. I want people to say the truth about things. I want them to be like Great-Grandma Czerniecka, a blessed memory. I want them to say, it's okay. I want to talk about it. And like I said, that's part of why I do what I do. I want to make a difference. I want people to be honest about things. You know, I do want bridges that have been burned and broken to be mended. So anyway, I guess that's a long story short, even though I'm sure that 13 minutes and 40 seconds is not that short. And hopefully I also gave some examples of why I want to help people and what I've been watching, and, you know, why I do want to make a difference. And, you know, it may not seem to make a difference at this point. Some things don't seem to make differences in the short term, or sometimes you can't make a difference about things in the past, but you certainly can rectify what you need to do in the future. And well, there's that. And as I said, Ere Shabbat Tov, when Shabbat comes up, Shabbat Tov, and happy Halloween, and there you have it.